Chaotic world events in this end time were foretold thousands of years ago by the prophet Daniel. Get God's perspective on all this and learn what else will happen before the second coming of Jesus Christ. Next, on The Key of David with Gerald Flurry.
Greetings, everyone. This world has seen some horrific suffering with Russia's attacking of Ukraine, and it's left many people in this world greatly depressed. But then if you look into Asia, and especially China and parts of Asia, they think what Vladimir Putin is doing is just fine. But we're hearing a lot about nuclear World War III, and bombs are available today. Just one nuclear bomb can vaporize a huge city and leave it without inhabitants. This is the world in which we live. Our number one problem is that of human survival. Think about the horror of the world we live in. What is wrong, and what are we going to do to solve these problems? What I'd like to see you do is to look around at all of these problems, the Russia-China axis, the European powers and other powers of this world, and just look at all of that, and it's leading directly into the second coming of Jesus Christ. Now, who believes that? Well, it's what your Bible teaches, and we've been teaching it for many years. And all these Bible prophecies are coming to pass, and Vladimir Putin is going to face Jesus Christ himself. And he's going to be conquered by him. And God is going to stop this madness and suffering that we see in this world, and he's going to end it forever. We have to understand this. If you look at the book of Daniel, he makes it all clear. And it's right there in Bible prophecy for us. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he couldn't understand what it was, and so he asked for Daniel to interpret it. And God sent Daniel to do just that. It's actually, if you see what God gave to Daniel and then to Nebuchadnezzar, it's the most exciting and wonderful news you could ever hear. And it just certainly eclipses anything you'll see as far as ugliness and danger in this world. Notice what it says in Daniel 2 and verse 36. Verse 36, this is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. You, O king, are a king of kings, for the God of heaven has given you a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. This is the dream being interpreted, and he's saying you're the great kingdom of Babylon. You rule the whole world. God has given that to you. Then on down in verse 39, it goes on to say, and after you shall arise another kingdom, inferior to you, and another third kingdom of brass. That's the Medo-Persian Empire, first of all, and secondly there, it's Alexander the Great. Another third kingdom, this is Alexander the Great, of brass, which shall bear rule over the earth. And then here comes the fourth one, and the last one, the Roman Empire. Verse 40 says, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things, and as iron that breaks all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. Then this fourth kingdom, the Roman Empire, has 10 resurrections. After it almost was struck dead, but there it was resurrected. Now then it skips verse 41 down to the very last Holy Roman Empire. And here's what it says, and whereas you saw the feet and toes, part of potter's clay. This is the last head of the Holy Roman Empire. Verse 42, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. So that's all forming before your eyes right now. And that's what is happening with Germany and Europe. And you need to watch it closely, because the real moving force is rising before your eyes, and it's going to shock the other superpowers for sure. Notice verse 43, and whereas you saw iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So it's just partly strong and partly weak. But nevertheless, it's going to have a lot of power. Verse 44, but look at the end of this. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now that is an amazing prophecy. Here God says this kingdom is not going to be left to other people. God is not going to let people of this world rule that kingdom. He has His own rulers that He has prepared to rule. These men that are ruling today are not qualified to rule. They are pitiful spectacles of examples for this world. And God says that's all about to change. And He has been working with His first fruits throughout the ages, forming a spiritual nation, preparing His saints to be kings and priests, to rule with Jesus Christ on David's throne forever and over the entire universe. Now that's an amazing prophecy. And those people that are given those jobs did deliver God's message before the second coming. And they did God's work. They did God's work, and they qualified. God prepared them and qualified them to rule with Him on David's throne. It's the most awesome reward that you'll ever hear about in the Bible. And what a wonderful opportunity it is for people today who are a part of that. Notice verse 23 of Daniel 7. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. This is a powerful beast, the fourth and last kingdom, world-ruling kingdom. In verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So we have literature we'll send you that will answer any questions you might have about that. But what it means here is a certain power plucked up 3 barbarian kingdoms, as they were called. The first 3 resurrections of the Roman Empire. And then all of a sudden it transitioned from the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire. The 7 last heads of that Roman Empire is the Holy Roman Empire, church and state combined. And the process continues. The Roman Empire had those 10 resurrections, and now it's leading right down to the last 7. And our booklet on the Holy Roman Empire will explain all that to you. Also, our booklet on Daniel Unsealed at Last. We also will tell you more about Germany and their part in all of this. They ruled over most all of the Holy Roman empires. Notice verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. They don't like God's saints, and they're wearing them out. today in some respects, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. Or 3.5 years. We're about to enter into the last 3.5 years. That's not very long. All of this is leading into that. The first 2.5 years would be the Great Tribulation, God's punishing of the nations of Israel. And then the day of the Lord is 1 year. And then the conclusion to that is the second coming of Jesus Christ to this earth. And all of this black nightmare is going to be over. Now let's take a look at Daniel 7 and verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Wow! God gives this whole kingdom over to the saints. And they'll, of course, be submissive to the Father and the Son, Jesus Christ. But here we have the best news you could possibly hear, and all of these people are being prepared and trained to rule. And surely we can see the need for rulers on this earth. We have so many pathetic rulers that are simply not qualified to rule. And they're monsters, they're beasts when they have all that power. They're not fit to take that power and rule. God has tried to teach man that from the very beginning. And before this is all over, people who've lived and never known God are going to be resurrected, and every person who's ever lived is going to have an opportunity to get to know God and live the way they should be living. If you look back at history, you'll see, like Time magazine wrote about 1999 through 2010 about how Europe's dirty secret, where they have all of these nuclear bombs that America has given 5 different nations: Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, Turkey. And so those nations have somewhere in the vicinity of about 200 thermonuclear bombs, enough to destroy the whole world. And America has given them to those nations. Is that a wise thing to do? Well, we're going to see that it isn't. Just think about this. And Germany is now asking America for some jets that can haul the nuclear bombs that America has given them. Just given them to them. Even though Germany never did pay their full share of NATO. They never have. And they're a very wealthy country. But is this the right thing we're doing in giving them our nuclear bombs? Are they our friend? And we've been prophesying for over 75 years that they are not going to be our friends in this last Holy Roman Empire. And yet, how many people understand that? But now we're upgrading the B-61 bombs stationed in Germany. Where is it all leading? Now they're getting the jets from the U.S. to be able to transport those bombs. But here, when you think about Germany and the people of Germany today, they don't think much of America. One of the top leaders talked years ago, and still does, about how he has had utter contempt for Donald Trump. The German people agreed with him. And now it's just as bad with Mr. Biden. So where is it all leading? Where is it taking us? Now, look, we have been prophesying what the Bible says for all these years, and here it is coming to pass precisely as we said it would, because we took the Bible prophecy right out of the Bible. And boy, I'll tell you, It's all coming to pass today. But let me just give you a stark truth, and you can see it yourself if you just watch closely in the news. Anybody can, but most people just ignore it. But here is a stark truth about Germany, that they have tried to keep people from even helping the Ukraine. They wouldn't even let Britain fly over their country to take arms to Ukraine. Now, how do you explain that? What is going on in their minds? Why would they be helping Russia? Well, they must have made a deal with Russia, like they did just before World War II. You can see that the Germans are not helping Ukraine, not even to this day. They're faking a little bit of it, but that's all it amounts to. And we need to wake up and see what's going on. If you go back to Winston Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt in World War II, they said they were never going to allow Germany to rise and arm themselves again. Never! After World War II, because they'd started World War I and World War II. And if you know about their ancient history, they've been warriors every time they came to power. They were great warriors and destroyers and acted like Vladimir Putin. So here we have Germany cozying up to Russia, and we thought that they were our friends. But they're not. And they're showing that to the world. And we're going to see it shortly, but I'm sure people are not going to accept it until God has to show them himself. But think about 200 nuclear bombs are sitting over there in European countries, and we don't really have very much control over them. There have been surveys of that, and they're not being well taken care of by us. So what is going to happen with all those nuclear bombs? There's a headline here in our news report, March 21, 2022, Germany weapons still not arrived in Ukraine. Well, what do you know? That's March 21, and they still haven't arrived. Do they want to help Ukraine? No, they don't. And that's a crisis. And that's a revelation that ought to shock us to our depths. It certainly should be that way. It goes on to talk about Germany is to buy nuclear stealth fighters and so on. And what does it all mean? Well, now Germany has decided to really double their military budget. I mean, build up a strong military. Olaf Scholz, the German chancellor, stood up before the Bundestag and he said that he told them about this budget being, military budget doubling, and they gave him a standing ovation. All of the parties were thrilled by it. But if we really understood what was going to happen here, we'd be trembling at what is happening there. That's according to your Bible. Notice verse 23, Daniel 8 and verse 23, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark sentences shall stand up. Well, what is going on there? Here's a strong man that's coming on the scene. I'm sure you're going to see him sometime this year or next. He's going to be the strong man Europe is looking for. They not only want a strong military budget, they want a strong leader to stand up to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. That's what they want. And he's going to understand dark sentences, not something from God, but dark sentences from an evil spirit in this world. You can read about Habakkuk 1 and verse 11 where he's going to have a mind change. In Isaiah 10 verses 5 through 7, it's just natural for him to do all these evil things, but he doesn't think he would do it, but he will. And then our Ezekiel booklet talks about a great betrayal. It's in your Bible. Verse 24, notice this, and his power shall be mighty, and not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully or mightily, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. He's going to destroy, put to death God's lukewarm people that are not really zealous toward God the way they should be. And then notice verse 25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. What a deceitful liar he is. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. He's going to be battling Vladimir Putin, and then they're going to be united in the very end when Jesus Christ is coming, and he's going to wipe them out and fill the valley of Jehoshaphat with blood up to the horses' bridles for 200 miles. Jesus Christ is going to speak the only language they understand. And they're going to have an army of 200 million soldiers. And Jesus Christ is going to destroy them all. Quite a lot of blood. In verse 1 of chapter 12, it says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which stands for the children of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as there never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. Number one problem, human survival. And at that time your people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. God's going to protect his people, but notice the reward they're going to be given if they do this work. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. How about that? You're going to shine like stars forever and ever if you turn many to righteousness, to God himself. That's the kind of reward God is going to give you if you do that. Then on down in verse 9 of chapter 12, God said, and Daniel, you go your way, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Then verse 12, blessed is he that waits and comes to the 1,305 and 30 days. We're just about getting to a point where we're going to be counting days. And where it says blessed, a better translation would be, oh, the bliss of all blisses. Christ is about to come to this earth and bring us peace and joy and happiness for all eternity. What a beautiful, beautiful vision it is. And what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us. If we just get out and do God's work, he is going to reward us as no people ever have been rewarded. Verse 13 talks about stand up in your lot at the end of the days. Well, these are the end of the days, and Jesus Christ is about to return to this earth. And that's the greatest possible news we could ever hear. And we need to be thankful for it and get our minds on that and get our minds off the problems in this world, because they're going to get worse until Jesus Christ gets here and makes a big, big change. Until next week, this is Gerald Flurry. Goodbye, friends.
All our literature is available free of charge at no cost or obligation to you. Request Ezekiel, the End-Time Prophet, Daniel, Unsealed at Last, and America Trusts Germany with Nuclear Bombs, and our planes to deliver them. Order now. The preceding program was a paid presentation of The Key of David, brought to you by the Philadelphia Church of God.